Hi everybody, it's Chris with the Cloverdale Transit Authority, and today we're actually on the workbench now that we've got everything redone and partially got the basement cleaned up. That is an ongoing project. Our basement for more than a decade has basically been like the junk drawer in the kitchen, where you just kind of throw everything that you don't know what you're going to do with. So I haven't been able to see the surface of this workbench for 10, 12 years. And so now it's finally cleaned up, and I've got a test track out on here with a transformer. I got all my tools, parts. So I'm excited to kind of get back to work and not be working on the breakfast counter in the kitchen. Anyway, so the video we have today, for those of you who've been following the channel know I've been recently collecting these 1950, 1960 Lionel ALCO locomotives, diesel locomotives, and very simple trains or locomotives and passenger and freight sets. There was a lot of play value in these, but they weren't like super detailed. I mean, you know, they were cool and they were pretty heavy, and some of them have magnet traction and others do not. This is the first one that I have that has a front coupler, because a lot of times this little piece underneath here is broken away, and this one was actually cracked. Sorry, this one was actually... I have a monitor now that I can see, and I'm still not paying attention. Anyway, this one was cracked. I'll let that focus on there. But I did repair that. Hasn't been cleaned up. Hasn't been oiled. I set it on the track just to see if the light came on. The light did come on, but it buzzed. It didn't want to run. So we're going to open this up and take a look and see if we can figure out what's going on with this. But it does have an E-unit in here to set, and you'll notice that it is pretty dirty. As a matter of fact, in here, you can see there are metal shavings in here. I don't know if those metal shavings are coming off of something in the motor, or if it just picked up something somebody was trying to clean their track with steel wool, and then there, so there's the metal shavings magnetically attached. So I'm going to take this apart and see if those metal shavings are something from the locomotive itself or just something external that got stuck in there. And also the other cool thing that I got with this eBay purchase, which again was, shipping was like $5 or $6, and but the purchase, because they didn't know whether the train ran or not, I got it down to like, $30, believe it or not, for both of these. This is an MTH bay window chassis system caboose. It did not have the box, but I mean, it's like practically brand new. There's almost no run on, here, let's see if we can, there's almost no run time on these wheels. Not getting any dirt off of it. So that was a really cool little find. This is not in the time period that I normally run my locomotives, but growing up in the area, chassis was the trains that I saw in my youth. And then of course, that later became CSX, which is what we're running in the area now. But yeah, so it's got metal trucks, and it's a nice little caboose. Okay, so we've got it open here, and one thing I will tell you is, because my other ALCOs don't have the front coupler in this cross member here, I forgot that when I took it off, I couldn't just tear it away, that I had to easily move this coupler out of the way. So anyway, so yeah, so just to reiterate, this is a 218. This was produced, even though it says on here that Lionel produced this in 1957, this actually was 59 through 61. And there were different variants of this. This originally had a power car that came with it, so I'm probably going to hunt that down. But I am going to take this later up to the kitchen sink and use my soft bristle toothbrush here in order to scrub it down with Dawn dishwashing soap and some warm water. But unlike my other ALCOs, I really need to be easy because this decal out here, sorry, this thing is trying to focus on this stuff here. The decal on the front can be very, very brittle. There is a replacement decal I can put on here, but right now I'm just trying to preserve this for the time being. So that will go upstairs. And now here we have the guts of the locomotive. And I know that the light bulb does work. And I've been sort of brushing some of this stuff off just to kind of clean some of the general schmutz off of it. And you can see there's just dust, and actually it's just not that bad. Just trying to get some of that off there so I can see what the situation is with this. And it's really not that bad. There's some oil in there that's kind of gooey because it's sort of hardened up. But I can get in there and I clean that off. Maybe use a little bit of rubbing alcohol, clean that off. And then right here, if you can see it, there's a little word. The word is oil. And you oil that little tiny port right there, and there's some soft material in there, and it helps oil up this. And there's actually also one on the bottom as well. Oil that, and then we need to grease these gears. Probably going to try to clean off these wheels too with a wire wheel on the Dremel, and we're going to oil it up and see if it runs. I do know that the bulb works. I do know that and I'm going to use some contact cleaner on this and spray just a little bit of contact cleaner. I don't want to mess around with the E-unit too much. See if you can see it in there. But I am going to spray a little contact cleaner in there just to brush away anything that's sitting on there. But I know that the E-unit works really well. When I had it on the track, it would engage and disengage and buzz and everything. It's just not moving forward. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that it needs lubricated. The next step really is going to be taking the top off of this engine, this motor, I should say, and I do see that the brush is not exactly where it should go, so I'm not going to mess with that right now. I'm going to take the top of that off, and let's see what it looks like. Took the top of the motor apart, took out the brushes, and of course the brushes are dirty, as you can imagine. And then you can see the top of the armature is really bad. And some of these armature sides are the commutator and all this stuff in here. They're really bad. Just kind of get in there and brush some of this out. But I'm going to have to get in there with a wire, or not a wire brush, but this. And, one thing I need to remember, contact cleaner. Yep. All right. Get in there with, loosen it up a little bit with Q-tip, just to help the process of then, get over there, and getting in here and cleaning this up with this Scotch-Brite pad. This is what you want to use. You don't want to use steel wool For those of you who may or may not know, I know a lot of you guys out there, you already know this. Don't use steel wool because those little bits get in there, and especially if it's an older locomotive like this one, it has magnet traction, you'll get little bits in there, and that's what we're facing down in there. There are little bits of, hopefully, steel wool from somebody trying to steel wool the track, and not metal shavings from the motor tearing itself apart. So, all right, so there's that, and I'm trying desperately, though I don't know if I can, to get in here and clean more of the motor. Let's see, let's get a little more. Yeah, okay. This is helping. You can see the dirt that's coming off of that, so. It's just all, with this little electric motor, all this carbon comes off of there, and there's little bits of hair from probably animals, maybe humans. And, all right, so, wow, man, that stuff's cold. I know, there's probably a bunch of you out there saying, hey, Chris, you can't be spraying these chemicals all over your hands. You've got to wear protection, and you can't just spray that on there because it soaks into your skin and soaks into your blood, and then the next thing you know, well, you know, you're absolutely right. I am not going to argue with that. And folks, if you're out there doing this, you probably want to do that. Get some gloves on so all of this stuff is chemicals not soaking into your system. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to get up in these little things where the brushes sit, those little brushes that I was just cleaning off, because there's a lot of stuff up in there. Just kind of clean this out a little bit. All looks pretty good. And I'm even going to get in here and clean some of that out a little bit. Get around the other side here. Just little bits of stuff. Okay, so now before I close this up, excuse my reach, I am going to get a little oil on that. Maybe not that much. Little oil on that before I put the brushes in. Back in the little holes there. And we'll line those up with the springs in a minute. I just want to get those on there and then try to put this all back together, which probably your best bet is going to be to kind of lean it to the side, if you can see that on camera, and then just sort of fit it. Okay, all right, so we got that all back together and cleaned, and then also we put a little oil in that little oil reservoir down there. Now I'm just kind of looking through this thing, seeing, is there anything that's really noticeably bad in here? That needs to be fixed. I know that the wheels need to be cleaned, the pickup points here, the pickup shoes to get power off there need to be cleaned, and I am going to spray a little bit of contact cleaner on these because I have recently discovered, see there's a hair, I've recently discovered that the contact cleaner and possibly a little isopropyl alcohol really cleans these up. And I probably put some contact cleaner in here, but isopropyl alcohol and the rest of that. And then I'm going to, after that's done, I'm going to, I'm going to go ahead then, and after I clean the wheels with the wire wheel, then I'm going to oil everything. I don't want to do that before that because any little bits that are flying off, I don't want it to get stuck in the oil. So, all right, let's, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to bore you with that, but you can see what the wheels look like right now. And then let's take a look and see what they look like after the cleaning process. Okay, I got a lot of these wheels cleaned up, not as much as I want to. It's really hard to move these wheels when the train is not running. It's not like some of the old steam locomotives where you can just sort of spin them. These are pretty tight, so I kept moving it to the test track, moving back and forth. I could have done that when the top of the motor was off, but anyway, I got them pretty cleaned up. I got everything oiled in here, all of these axles, and then I've got, you can see white lithium grease up in there. So let's go ahead and put it on the test track without the shell on it and see if we can get it to run back and forth. Here, got the E-unit engaged. Oh, it did want to go. There it goes. Out of the camera shot. Bring it back. Oh, not bad. Sounds like it just needs some throttle time. Get all that lubrication going in there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and, man, that E-unit is loud. That's probably going to need a little more service eventually. But what I'm going to do is get this shell cleaned up. Get that all washed up carefully, and then take it up on the circle of track we still have from our Christmas village, though the village is no longer there. And let's run it around and see what happens. Well, there it is, everybody. I think it came out really nice. It sounds good. It looks good. So we're going to show some not really exciting running footage. I kind of miss the Christmas tree, but we're going to have something up in the train room in the basement real soon. So anyway, if you like this video, make sure that you click on like and subscribe, and also share this video out with other people that you know that like model railroading, especially vintage stuff. That would be great. I would really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.